How's everyone doing? This is our fourth podcast in the series. If you want to check out the other ones, just put podcast exclamation mark podcast in the chat. This one's gonna be about making it as a full-time content creator. We've got a mix of great guys here who stream for Endpoint. Some of them do it full-time, some don't. Actually, do all of you guys do it full-time? Good question. I know Toby doesn't, who was meant to be earlier. So Toby might be joining us a bit later. So okay, we've got 4 full-time people. How do you make it as a full-time content creator? Going to be the topic. First off, we'll just start with if you could introduce yourselves. We would go round in a circle. So yourselves.
Am I first?
It was as a circle going.
Are we going clockwise, counterclockwise? What are we doing here?
I'll start with this, guys. Come on.
Okay, that's you, Bombo. That's you, Bombo. Go on.
Is it me? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. So my name's Bombo. I've been playing CS for 17 years now. So veteran, but still a noob. I've been streaming for the 2 years now, full time. It's been fun. I first started obviously just wanting to play CS with people, but I've ended up meeting amazing people, great people for a community, and making a lot of friends. So it's like kind of took me by surprise where I just wanted to game, but now I've actually just got friends from it, which is odd. But yeah, that's me.
Okay, and I'm Isaac. I'm also, I was mainly a CSGO streamer when I first started. I used to play competitively and stream on my team, stuff like that. Been streaming full time now for about 4.5 years. I've moved more to variety now, but still with an emphasis probably on FPSs, I'd say. And right now I've been playing a lot of Valorant stream.
Okay, cool. So I'm Ice Tronixa, most people call me Ice, and I've been streaming for nearly 4 years come this August. I do mostly variety, but I also do like RTS, indie games mostly. Sometimes I do like competitive games as well, but mostly I do them offline. But yeah, just enjoying them really, just sharing games with.
Hi guys, I'm Helping Hands. I've been streaming for God knows how many years now. I started streaming on Xfire, and then I switched over to Justin TV, and then obviously Justin TV became Twitch. I've been partnered for about almost 5-6 years now, and I kind of stream mainly strategy titles, RTS games, but I'm not limited to that. I play also FPS titles. I recently completed Doom Eternal, which I really enjoyed, so definitely pick that up if you guys have a chance to. Yeah.
I didn't even realise you could stream on Xfire. I just remember it being a message chat back in the day. I didn't even realise you could stream on it. No, it sounds good. Yeah, so I mean, let's just chat about how you guys got into streaming. I mean, I guess the reason why you get into streaming, a lot of people think, I can be a full-time streamer, I can make, millions of bucks from like Shroud or Summit or whatever. But I mean, I guess why do you get into streaming? You think I doubt it's for the money if you kept going for so many years, for how hard it is to grow a channel. But yeah, I mean, your hands. Do you want to start us off? You probably the longer streamers.
Well, I first just fell into it. Really, it just became a full-time job because I became the #1 streamer for the game that I play, which was Company Heroes. It just happened really. I just was very good at the game. Obviously likable because I was attracting a lot of viewers as well. And people subscribed, and I thought, hang on, maybe I could make this a career out of this. And then I just started to take it way more seriously. Even like I've only been full time for the last 3 or 4 years, but the last couple of years now, I've really started to like take it a lot more seriously by going to events, trying to meet sponsors and talking to people, that kind of thing. So that's how it's turned from like a hobby into like almost a dream career, basically.
I think for me, like I left my job, like I said, a couple of years ago. I just wanted to play CS. I was coming home after work every day, playing Counter-Strike, like for 4 hours after doing a hard graft of work. And then I was like, do you know what? After a few years of work, I was like, I just want to play CS. So how am I going to be able to play CS constantly and make a living? And that's what I thought. Well, I used to be a manager in my old company. I thought if I've learned those skills in managing businesses, then surely I can make it as a streamer. And then I was watching people, and funny enough, actually, Isaac and Organize was some of the first streamers I was watching. So I thought, if Isaac can do it, I can do it, right? So yeah, that's I think how I really got into it. I didn't, obviously, like you say, everyone wants to make the money from it. But I think you get a slap in the face after you start at how hard it is to make money from streaming. Because like you say, you think it's going to be easy, but it's really not. And yeah, so for me, I just was getting into it because of passion for the game. That was really it.
Yeah.
For me, it was actually just it was actually a friend of mine who was just like, "Why aren't you streaming? Like, you play games 24/7." I was like, "Oh, you do?" I mean, I did have a job at the time, and I was made redundant because the company was struggling. And I was like, "Okay, while I'm looking for a job, why not just see what the fuss is all about?" And I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike at the time, and for some reason, people started watching it and people were asking about other games and stuff. So I started trying out like more storyline games and things. And that's kind of how my love for variety kind of grew as well, indie games and stuff. And then I started picking up viewers, and it somehow people were helping me. And while I didn't have a job, I was like, okay, I'll just do this until it's not working. And I'm still here 4 years later. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I remember correctly, the first time I streamed, it was literally, and this must have been about 6 to 7 years ago. I did it for fun because I was playing a scary game and my friends wanted to watch it. So I literally only streamed for them. And then I think that's when I set up my Twitch account. And then from there, I was like, oh, I started watching some other streams. I was like, oh, there's lots of people doing Counter Strike. And Counter Strike, I was playing a lot back then. And I was like, oh, I see all these people playing Counter Strike. It looks fun just to play and talk to people. I like being informative and teaching people stuff about CS as well. So I was like, oh, these people are doing that. I know a lot about CS. I might just try it out. And then that was just in my free time while I was at university. Just any time I was playing CS, I just turn on the stream. Bit by bit, more people started watching, people started coming back, and I started trying to stick to a schedule because obviously when you're streaming, if you're just doing it randomly, people, it's hard for them to come back. But then when you start seeing the schedule, you see the same names coming back, and it's just went from there really.
Yeah, it's nice community, isn't it? And as you're saying, Ice, it's unbelievable how generous people can be when. Yeah, I guess it can be a sense of, people realise you're doing this for a job, so you need it. It's not you haven't got other income, and it's yeah. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Pete, by the way. I'm one of the owners of Endpoint. I used to stream as well. I did it for about 15 months, 16 months. I enjoyed it a lot. I streamed poker instead of like games. I streamed a bit of Counter Strike as well, but I would say one of the hardest things mentally about a streamer is the feel of slow growth. So, I mean, I felt like I was doing quite well in the sense of, if you look back at it, I was doing quite well in the sense of getting, 10, 15 new followers every day when I streamed, which actually is probably quite good. But in the mental side of things of, oh, I'm just, I'm not growing, and then you see channels with hundreds of thousands of followers, how are you ever going to get there? It's going to do the maths, it's going to take you 10 years or whatever, who knows. And I mean, what was that? What's your feeling on that, guys? Like, is that the hardest part of streaming, the mental side of the growth, or is there other parts you think?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll go first here. I personally feel like, yeah, I totally agree with you there. The mental side of it is a big one for me. It's always, you can't help but you go on Twitter and you see someone's like, oh, I had an amazing stream here. I got 10,000 viewers for this, or I did this, that, and the other. And you can't help but feel jealous. But you have to know that you shouldn't compare yourself to others. If you keep doing that, you're just going to keep having a negative mindset every time you stream. And that's going to make you actually a worse streamer in general. So I think that you need to just come into it and be like, yeah, I'm my own streamer. I could do my own thing. And if I have success, that's great. But try not to compare yourselves. I mean, I recently met Sakura, I believe, at TwitchCon EU last year, and I was really shocked by how mentally he was saying that he was kind of really worried about the fact that he was at TwitchCon and he wasn't getting loads of his Prime subs because he was losing half his Prime subs. And I was like, dude, Prime subs are a fairly new thing in the last few years, and that's like a bonus kind of revenue that I look at it, kind of thing. And he was thinking, oh no, he's feeling really down about it. And I'm like, well, if I was in your shoes, how I wouldn't feel like that at all. So I was just really shocked when I heard that from him. Considering he's like one of the best UK streamers out there.
Yeah, I mean, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, I feel like that's for him. It's like that because for him, he's at the top of a lot of categories when he's streaming, and I feel like that's where new people who are new to Twitch will click on their stream early, and then they can capitalize on that. Oh, did you know if you have Amazon Prime, link it to your Twitch account, you get a Twitch Prime sub. So I'm feeling like for those big streamers who are at the top of the category, I feel like Prime subs are probably a high proportion compared to people not on the first 2 columns or 2 rows, even first row, even maybe.
But you see that even with big streamers now. Like I go into someone like, say, Jason R's channel, and he might be at 10k subs one month, and then the next month he's at 6k, and that's a big hit in revenue. And I think, I don't know, for me, I've learned probably definitely this past year is just focus on your core community, the people that are turning up every day in your chat, the ones that you get to know well. Those people are the ones that matter, because they're gonna in my opinion, your good old-fashioned word of mouth. They're going to promote your stream just through, naturally talking to other people. And I think that's what people lose a lot of sight of. You might have someone new come into your stream, and it's like, well, how do you capture that person's interest to stay around, rather than think of them as like a revenue source? Because that will come. I think if you got good people watching your stream, they're not going to sit there for years on end just watching for free. When they've got money, people will be like, do you know what, you've done a lot for me just in terms of entertainment value. Here's some cash that I've got spare. That's the way I try and see it anyway.
I mean, to be fair, I think there's just kind of two different audiences, if I may put it that way. And it's not like one is better than the other. It's just two different kinds, which I've experienced, I guess, as a variety streamer. You have the people who come for said game that you're currently streaming, and then you have the people who will come no matter what you're playing, as you were kind of saying. Like, it's like your core community who's not minding if you want to try something new, but then you have like, the viewers who will come because either you're good at the game or they're interested in that particular game you're playing. So to grow as a streamer, you have to kind of find a balance, because some people will only come for a certain game, or some will only come for you. That can be a challenge as well, because especially as variety, if you kind of tend to jump back and forth, you might not see like the growth go like this. It will be very slow. Sometimes you just have like a little bit of a roller coaster. So, I mean, from a variety perspective, it can be mentally like, oh, what am I doing wrong? It's maybe this game didn't work out, but
I think actually people don't put perspective into it in terms of everyone's perspective is different to everyone else's. So you have someone like I don't know, Jason R. You said whatever, who dropped 4,000 subscribers. To an outside perspective, it looks like, well, he's got 6,000 subscribers. He's making bucks still. He's fine. But then actually, in the mental space of yourself, when you're trying to improve, always you're never happy with where you are. Like, people just are never happy with where they are in general. It's about your own perspective and your own goals and your own ambitions, I guess, in a sense. But yeah, I think your own goals is a very important thing, and everyone has them, and everyone's going to be disappointed if they lose stuff. But you have to put perspective into it, and the fact that you're all doing it full time for a job, which is amazing. But obviously, for someone getting there as well, it has to be step by step. It can't be a leap. You're never going to get famous overnight. I mean, you might do, but I mean, we're talking
Very rare.
Yeah.
the million percentile, aren't we? So.
Yeah, for me mentally, it was quite a challenge to begin with, when you're like, oh, I only have so many viewers right now. Like, that mentality was just not working. And you have to think, wow, 30 people are watching me right now. They're picking me out of thousands of channels. Like, if you're thinking, oh, I only have so many people, but I had 50 the other day, or I had 100 the other day. And if you keep thinking like that, you're just going to put yourself down. Sometimes it can help just cover up those viewer counts, just so you're not focused on that constantly, because if you keep thinking like that, you might sometimes just like talk yourself down. Like, oh, well, sometimes it's just IRL factors. Like, maybe there's an event going on, or people just enjoying the sun.
Yeah.
I think that's
it's like
so I was saying, for someone who's got 1 viewer or 0 viewers, you should always act as if you've got viewers, because because you'll notice. Let's say you've got 0 viewers and someone comes into your chat. By the time you've noticed one person's in your chat, they'll probably have gone if you're not talking.
Exactly. A lot of people won't say anything when they come in. They want to see what's going on the stream before they say anything.
Yeah.
So you've got to always be acting as if there's people watching, and then I think that's the biggest piece of advice I would give anyway. I don't know about anyone else. Piece of advice for someone who's got very few viewers, but always being active is.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite tips to give when people are like, because so many times people come in and say, what's a tip you give to a new streamer? That just streaming like you, there is always someone in the chat is a huge one. Because like I said, I do it. I come and stream sometimes and I just wait and see what's going on in the stream before I say something, just because I want to see what kind of vibe is going on in the stream. So if you're talking through what you're doing on stream, even if you think there's no one in chat, talk through what you're doing in the game, wherever it is, and suddenly someone will probably pop up in the chat and be like, oh yeah, that's true, or something like that, and then you just strike up the conversation and you probably hook them from there.
A way to help that as well is if you're if you're streaming solo, try and get a friend to play with, so then you can have some kind of communication going between, so you can have a conversation yourself, because a lot of people struggle when they first start streaming to try and pick up a conversation out of thin air when they haven't got anyone to feed back off. So maybe when you first start going to streaming, have a list of topics if you are going to be a solo streamer, and just discuss them and talk about them. You just give your own thoughts and opinions, and then people will start talking in chat for sure.
Yeah, I actually did that when I first started streaming, when I didn't really have like a viewer base, I would just think about some topics before stream and just like, okay, this might be interesting talking about, maybe this game release or like a story that might be funny that happened at work, just something just to keep you engaging. And I think like the average is like 10 seconds you have to make an impression on someone. So you gotta just act as if those 10 seconds is constantly mattering, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you've got the 30-second advert before the stream loads up as
That's
well,
true,
so you probably only have 5 seconds maybe after the advert.
Well, actually, when I was speaking to, so people don't obviously. So CEX, one of our sponsors, Sex they're called, but people don't like to say that. So Sex basically have we've chatted to their marketing director, and it's eye opening, honestly. And they pretty much say that you don't capture someone in the first 3 seconds, 3-4 seconds of a video, and then they're gone. Otherwise, if they're not interested. So you can't start a video with something which is kind of boring. Like, even if it's yourself, you should really be to something straight away. It needs to go, bam, this is what happens. Because first 3-4 seconds is where you capture someone. And I guess that's the same in streaming. You've got to always be,
I think Twitch is helping with that as well now, because people of viewers might not see it, but they're going to be introducing like channel trailers and stuff. So that for me is going to be great, like a 60-second clip of pretty much what your stream's about. So even if they don't drop in when you're live, they can grasp who you are. And I think for someone like myself who plays CSGO, I've been quite fortunate with having a lot of my clips posted on YouTube, compilations and stuff. So some people might even capture that 3-10 seconds just out of that clip and just swing on by because they've seen that, rather than actually just browsing through Twitch. And I think that's another key part of gaining an audience, is not just relying on Twitch views.
I mean, okay, so one of the questions I want to ask, actually, myself personally, I think when I was streaming, I found this one of the hardest things as well, was so Twitch is your your influence is your brand, yourself is your brand, and one of the hardest things I found was, so I was doing Twitch, but neglecting other platforms. So you have you got your Twitter, you got your Instagram, you've got YouTube, you've whatever TikTok these kids do these days. I don't know. How do you guys balance social media? I mean, do you think it's a fault of yours as well, or do you think it's something you do well, or how do you do it?
It's definitely a challenge because if you think about it, like you're running your own business and you're doing everything yourself, whereas other businesses might have like one PR guy, one doing this and this and this. You're doing your own networking and you're doing all of these things, and having the time can be quite hard to be across multiple platforms. Social media especially can take up a lot of time if you are networking, trying to get to know people, posting your content. So for me, I found it quite overwhelming. Like, I wanted to do a YouTube, I just can't find the time to do YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all of these things. It just consumes so much time because you're probably live for 6 to 8 hours already. And, it can be quite a challenge to balance everything together, honestly.
Yeah, I personally made Mondays now my day off, where I literally focus purely on YouTube content. That's the day that I go through all my Twitch stuff that I've made throughout the week and find the best bits and highlight, or make new content for the YouTube channel. I think it's really important to have a YouTube channel alongside Twitch. I only recently figured that out. About 2 years ago, I realized how important it is to build up a YouTube channel alongside Twitch, because I see a lot of people coming into Twitch now saying, "Oh, Hans, I've watched you on YouTube. It's my first time checking out your Twitch channel. How you doing?" And that's happening like every week, at least. Quite a few people come in and say that. So it's so important to build a YouTube channel alongside your Twitch. If you've already got an established Twitch, just tell your Twitch viewers to go onto your YouTube channel, and that's a great Kickstarter there to help you build your YouTube channel initially. And it's always a good idea to also make separate content on YouTube that you won't find on Twitch either. So that encourages people to go over to there, because they know they can't get the content on Twitch if you put that stuff on YouTube. So like, I put my guides and stuff on YouTube, which is not it's better, and you can edit it and make it a lot more professional on YouTube than on Twitch, because everything's live on Twitch, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if you're streaming on Twitch for 10 hours straight, it's harder than if you're doing a 1 or 2 minute video on YouTube that you can just edit in your own time. And I mean, the problem with that though, Hans, what you're saying is you take a day off to do all your other social media, but then you're not taking a day off at all, are you, really?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
shooting 6 days, and then you're basically working the other day as well. So
yeah, I mean, we were talking about balancing time on all social media, but it's balancing time on all social media and real life as well. That's the hard part, because you could spend your whole time, you could do everything, but you wouldn't be able to do anything else apart from all your streaming and social media and everything. We wouldn't have time for everything else. I'm lucky enough that I've been slacking on a lot of my social media, and I've been with Valorant, I've been trying to put out some more stuff. And luckily one of my mods has said he'll help me out with doing some YouTube videos. So that's great. I'm looking to try and kickstart my YouTube again. But I mean, if I was doing that on top of the streaming and everything else, I'd be really pushed for time to do anything else, really.
And I think
Yeah, it is tough.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of points you can take from that. What you said, Isaac, is mods help. Yes, and people are willing to help. It's amazing actually how much people are willing to help because they love your community or they think you're a great content creator. But also, should you prioritize good quality streams over length of stream? So should you be doing a 4-hour stream instead of an 8-hour stream? But then in the other 4 hours you spend on doing your brand.
Yeah, so I have a rule of thumb where I do a 6-hour stream, sometimes go over depending on the day, but then I spend 1 to 2 hours social media straight afterwards. But also replying to everyone in communities. It might send me a private Discord message to say, hey, I need help with this, I need help with that, or can you give me some advice? Like I'm a big believer in doing that sort of thing as well. So you're connecting with single people rather than just a bulk of community. And that my partner, sometimes when I'm sitting in bed at 10 o'clock at night, she's going to sleep and I'm just there on my phone, just, and sometimes you can become self-consumed in your own work and you don't even realize it's actually, you're doing it. You just think, well, I'm used to this now. And yeah, it's just sometimes just a bit too much. You've got to, like Isaac says, know when to step away and still enjoy your own personal life.
It is hard to find the balance. I mean, I'm guilty of opening my phone like immediately when I wake up. Go through Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff, and it's another thing. Is like because we are so consumed with everything we're doing, especially if you're doing this full time, that when you network and you're like trying to make friends and other connections, sometimes people can take it personal if you're not there like every stream, and people don't understand that. It's not that I don't like you. I just literally I'm out of time. People seem to think like, oh, if you network with someone, they're going to be there every stream, they're going to be there all the time. But like between juggling, streaming, social media, networking, connecting with your community, it's just very limited time left.
Yeah, I mean, so we've got a latecomer for the rude Toby, Organised TV.
Hi. Sorry.
Would you like to quickly introduce yourself anyway?
Can do. So I'm Toby, Organised TV. I've been with Endpoint since 23rd of October 2018. That was when I officially joined as a streamer. Before then, it was casting CSGO. And now I just play Valorant pretty much all day, every day. It's about no other games anymore.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, actually, you're probably the only one we've got in this podcast now that isn't full-time streaming because you're university still and doing studying. What's your general goals to get to full-time streamer if you want to? I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I've always thought about this with uni and stuff. Everyone always says it's a bad idea to drop out, but I've always said that if I blew up tomorrow and was 5K, so the dream Twitch streamer, then it's probably worth me maybe deferring a year for uni and stuff. But I think at the moment it's just try and find a healthy balance between uni and streaming, because right now I've got 4 assignments due in 8 days and I'm kind of shitting myself because I barely started them. So that's not a balance. But yeah, it's just trying to find that ability to do streaming, because I also want to do a bunch of YouTube stuff. But I'm struggling with that, and then uni as well. So
yeah, I was in a similar situation a few years ago. I used to study. Had a really good opportunity where I was in Japan, actually studying at university over there, and my Twitch was kind of taking off at that point where I was there, and I had to make the decision at that point: did I focus on my studies, or did I, or do I keep going with the gaming side of things? And I chose the gaming side of things because I was more passionate about that. And I felt like dropping out of university, as too much bad stigma around it at the moment. You know, it happens. If people have got better opportunities, they should go for it. You know, I take my dad as a prime example of why, you know, it's never too late to go to university. He, in his 40s, he decided, like, I want to go back to, you know, he went back to college, he went to university to become a doctor. He was like a paramedic for like 15, 20 years before that. So, yeah, honestly, I honestly think, you know, if you feel like you should go for it, but don't take the risk unless you've already, you know, you feel like you're established. You know, go for it. But you know, and also have a backup plan as well. So if you haven't got any money saved up, then it's not a good idea to do it. But yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I think a lot of people make that mistake. They go into Twitch or similar, and they think like, okay, I got a stream now, and I'm going to do it full time, and therefore, you know, I'm just going to quit my job and do it. But it's very risky unless you actually have the financial income, like have a backup plan or have like a part-time job, and so you can actually establish your feet and know that you have enough revenue coming in that you can actually pay all your bills and stuff. Because people seem to think that streaming is easy, it's easy money, but there is so much work behind the scenes and everything to actually make it full time.
Yeah, I mean, I still last year I took up a part-time job just to help with a bit of the finances, and still trying to stream full-time, like I say, 6 hours a day. And even now, I still do graphic work on the side as well, just to get extra income, because Twitch is strange. Some months you can have blowout months, and you're like, whoa, that's it. You know, I'm set for a couple of months now, great, and then the next month you could just lose it all, and it's just so many ups and downs. It's hard to keep consistent. I personally feel
It can be
the
seasonal as well,
side.
can't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely seasonal.
Yeah, which is very hard to plan for.
Especially start of like school and university year, I feel like there's a big drop off right at the beginning for sure. That month is a really slow month for me,
After
especially.
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas,
Yeah,
that was one.
Christmas is good.
But then you can understand it why. I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, if you guys had more resources, what would you need? Like, if you guys had, I don't know, you could click a finger and go, right, this is what I need to make my channel bigger. What resources would you need, and would you think it'd be wasting money, or do you think you could actually make it work with it? Like, if it's, you know, paying a YouTube, a videographer, whatever, or paying someone to make YouTube stuff, or paying, I don't know, like graphics design more. I mean, what do you guys need? Like, we at Endpoint, obviously we try and support our streamers, and we help with graphics on channels, and for us it'd be hard to help with everyone's YouTube though, because that's just a huge undertaking and cost.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, what do you guys need? Like, what's to get to the next level, I guess?
Well, personally, I feel like, yeah, like you say, someone to edit YouTube videos. I've been looking actually, right, you know, in the last few months, actually, to try and hire someone now to edit the YouTube channels, because it's just so much work to do, and because I'm literally don't have a day off, I feel like it's taking its toll on me. And also, I you know, an agency as well for like networking. I met an agency called Presta actually when I went to TwitchCon in America last year, and they're like a company that kind of handle. You know, they go out and search for kind of deals for you, kind of sponsored things like you play this game and you get paid for this amount of money to play this game, or you have this product or whatever. And yeah, they take like what, a 10% or 15% commission, but you know, they do all the work for you. So you just have to just sign the contract, and then, you know, it's really easy. It's all written down on what you need to do, the deliverables or whatever. And so that's just another, you know, way to make it a bit easier on a streamer, you know, in terms of the networking side of things and getting sponsorship deals. And also, personally, I would also want more brand exposure is what I would like to have as well. Someone who could be like, okay, this guy's making this really cool content. We'll put him in, for instance, PC Gamer magazine or something, or a feature on BBC News or something, you know, like that, for example. Because I've seen some streamers that have been able to do that, and I've seen them blow up. And you know, I really feel like, you know, that's kind of an angle to approach there to get more well known out there. But I feel like you kind of need to know the contacts, I guess, to be able to achieve something like that.
I think for me, it depends where, like, what stage you stream. That's Hans, your stream's obviously a bit further down the line than where mine would be. So for me, like, I would want someone to manage all my social medias. That would be the best thing, because that's good marketing in my view. So if you've got Twitter, Instagram, I don't want to go on TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok. But you know, it's still at the same time, if someone else is putting up your video content for you there, it's gaining more, you know, bigger audience, and it's keeping up with those trends. And that for me is something I personally struggle with, because I try to do stuff daily. But like you can see, even with Endpoint, since you've hired Rhiannon, it's elevated the org, and that for me would be my main thing. And then when I'm bit bigger streamer, like probably like Hans level, that's when I'd be focused more on YouTube, because you don't, well, I don't see any revenue from YouTube personally. I don't think these days you will because of what's happened, but it's good exposure still, and that would be like I say later down the line.
The issue with later down the line is when you're ready to start it, you start at zero. You've started it already. You've already started. You've already got a small base of things to start with, which helps a lot. A lot of like marketers say, you know, if you want to sell a product to someone, you have to get them from 3 different angles. And I think that's a big way of, if someone asks like, how do I get viewers in my stream? Like I've got 0 viewers. The best way is other obviously you've got the general people coming in from your Twitch, but from Twitch channel itself. But if you can get people coming in from Twitter, you can get people coming in from YouTube, you can get people coming in from different angles. That's how you grow, and that's how or you start. You've got a social presence, even a small one, anywhere else, it will help you.
I mean, for me personally, I've actually found that for me, YouTube hasn't really been the thing because I don't really have like a videographer or someone to really help me out, and I don't have the time or the skills to really put that like great videos. But I've actually found that Twitter for me wasn't really the source of people finding the stream. Like you can tweet like I'm live, but it doesn't always get people in there. And I know we've been talking about TikTok, and I was not expecting that to work for me at all. But I've been posting on there, and I've actually got loads of views coming from there, even just to say hi and check you out. And then they moved on from TikTok to Instagram. Like my Instagram's just gained loads of followers out of nowhere since I started doing TikTok, and they're coming into Twitch as well. So it's definitely a good idea to explore different social media and kind of branch out a little bit because it does work.
But do you think though you worry about, because like I say, the TikTok audience for me is young, and I personally don't want too many young people in my community because I thrive off conversation rather than spamming emotes and things. I don't even get some of the emotes that have been in my Twitch chat these days. But it's like
Twitch chat, guys.
But it's like that
yeah.
audience sometimes I worry about.
I mean, I turned 30 in June, so maybe some people think I'm younger, but I think for me, I found just like I think TikTok kind of groups you with like your group. Like if you're a millennial, you're kind of be seeing people who's kind of similar ages and the same games and stuff. Like I think the algorithm on TikTok is quite like it groups you with like if you keep posting as like hashtag gamer or Twitch, you'll start seeing content that's got those hashtags and stuff, and you won't necessarily be seeing like a 15-year-old dancing because that's not like I mean you know there's obviously an audience for that too, but you won't necessarily see it because you got like your it's like for you page as it's called, as it's like kind of grouping you up with kind of similar people. So for me, I've actually found loads of similar minded people coming over there. So I mean I understand your thought behind it.
Tracking back to the YouTube as well, I feel like YouTube is a great one when you're specifically focusing on a single game, and that's why I think it might be harder for you guys getting people from YouTube because like you got that single game. Someone comes onto your channel, they're like, "Wow, look at all these videos on this game that I have just looked at this video for." Whereas when you're doing variety, they come onto your channel, they see, "Oh, here's a video on this game."
Right.
Oh, everything else is all different stuff. But if you hook them, so back when I was doing just Counter-Strike, unfortunately, I didn't. I did actually. What I used to do was I'd literally just because Twitch gave the functionality you could just export highlights straight to YouTube, and I literally just did that for single clips. I didn't put it together or anything into a compilation or anything. Just put the single clips up, and some of them ended up getting quite a few views. One of them got put onto Reddit or something, and that video went up to like 100k views just for one clip on its own. And I still to this day occasionally have some people come in from that video and say, "Oh, I saw this video on YouTube." What'd you say?
Was it the Mirage Ace?
No, it was it was one where we trolled our friend who went AFK at the beginning of a match, and then he came back and we all just AFK'd in spawn, and then he started running out of spawn, looked back at us and was like, "Hello, is my internet down?" And then he like runs out of spawn, comes back again, looks at all of us again, and we're just sitting there laughing silently, and then he runs off and then we just slowly walk up behind him. He doesn't even notice we're walking up behind him, and then we just go boo, and he's like, "Oh my god, that's not funny, guys!" And somehow that one 100k views, and I still have some people coming in saying like, "Oh, I saw this YouTube video." So yeah. If you're on a single game, I think that's the best for YouTube.
That's funny because even like I don't even play CS:GO, and I find that funny just even hearing about it. So like that goes across multiple audiences. So I think that's it's not probably just the CS:GO community. There's I think a lot of other people from other gaming communities who probably can relate to that. So that's why it's good. But yeah, on the subject of YouTube, even if you just like just straight import your the Twitch VODs onto YouTube, you know, and then don't do anything else. I think that's just a good stepping stone just to start getting some traction, because that's what I did originally, and I gained like 10k subs on YouTube without really putting in much effort. And now I've started putting a lot of effort. Obviously, I've seen a lot more traction, but you know, just as a stepping stone, that's a good way to go. You know, just to get your foot in the door on YouTube.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah, I mean, so the number one thing I heard for the last year probably for streamers coming to us, or in our streamers, Isaac told me it about 10 times I think, is I'm waiting for the next big game to come, and that's obviously what a lot of I don't want to say smaller streamers, but it's medium streamers, anyone who's not tier 1 streamer, should we say. I'm waiting for the next big game. Is one of the main things I heard, and obviously most of that was waiting for Valorant, which is now here. And a lot of people are playing it. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on? I mean, so maybe not Ice this way, or Hans, because you haven't been playing it really. Actually, Ice, you played it, haven't you? So maybe not Hans then. What are your thoughts on, for example, Valorant? It's the next big game. There will be another next big game in a year's time or 6 months' time. Who knows? Is it worth going for it, or do you think it's just too saturated straight away? Like, obviously, if everyone thinks it, then everyone's gonna be streaming it, so there'll be less viewers to get.
I mean, I think this goes for any big game that's like on top of Twitch. Like, you will find thousands and thousands of viewers stream the same game, and like, unless you already have like a name or like some sort of following, you're gonna be like pages down, and you won't necessarily just. I think a lot of people would make this mistake. They're like, "Oh, everyone's streaming this game. I'm gonna stream it. I'm totally gonna make it off this game." But that's not necessarily how it's gonna work, because yeah, you do drown out.
I say, like, with Valorant, a big thing though was that's different to the other big games was the whole key whitelist drop thing. That just meant that most people, for the very first week, everybody wanted to watch those people who had drops, and I don't blame them. I mean, everyone wants to get access to the game, so until you get it into your account, why wouldn't you be watching one of those big streamers streaming it? Because the thing is, with a game like that as well, you assume it's going to have a competitive side. I'm pretty sure it will. For me, I'm hoping to maybe not necessarily compete in it 100% seriously, because obviously streaming is my main focus. But if I could put together like a team or something to play in some tournaments on stream, I think I'd really like to do that. So that's why I've been looking forward to Valorant for so long, because that's what I did at the beginning of Counter-Strike. I used to stream my team's practices and matches and everything like that. And I was very nicely off of that. And I'm hoping to potentially maybe do something like that on Valorant. Depends how the game progresses. Right now, I'm enjoying it, but I'm not sure how the game is going to progress. But yeah, that's why I was so interested in jumping on it at the beginning, because I mean, it was a cross between League and CS. I mean, kind of a cross between League and CS. And those are two games probably that I put the most time into. I reckon, like, single games. They're the two games I put my most time into. So when they announced that, I was really excited. I was aiming towards that. And it has delivered, but like I said, that whole key drops in streams and only the people who got to participate in the alpha weekend really did dent any growth that could be done in the first week.
Yeah.
Of course, I think it's today or yesterday that they said that everyone's going to get it now, which is great that they've done it now, because now you'll start seeing the top streamers. They're still going to have a lot of views, obviously, but I feel like those top streamers aren't going to have that. Were they having like 100? The top one was having like 300,000 something, maybe like that.
Like 220k.
Yeah, something like that. So obviously that's going to move down, and it's going to trickle down into the lower streams now. I think that was quite a one-off though. I'm trying to think of any other games that had that when it first came out, where only a select few people. Because obviously Tarkov had it with drops, but that wasn't when the game first came. Well, first was on Twitch, was it? That was like a rebirth for it almost. I don't think I've ever seen a game like this before. So
yeah, I guess
it's strange.
It's a one-off. I think.
Bombo, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I think it's strange for me because I've not played Valorant yet, but I've watched a hell of a lot to see if it's my type of game. And I think medium to small streamers have been hurt because like you say, the drops, everyone's just going to like Summit stream or whatnot. But for me, like I say, I'm always thirsty for watching CS. Like, it's kind of like done the opposite for me. So on my list, I've seen every one of my regular streamers that I watch are playing Valorant. So to be quite honest, I'm like, I want to go watch some CS. So I've actually discovered new streamers in that game because they've had a chance to shine. So it is a mix in my view. It's just, I'm still a big believer as a streamer, you've got to play what you enjoy, because if you enjoy the game, it's going to come across to your audience. If you're hating the game and you're forcing it, it's no one's going to be engaged because you're not engaged.
I think that's actually what I was about to say. Is Isaac? Yeah, you might get a few less stream viewers at first because of the drop thing, but you wanted the next big game because you wanted to enjoy something. and
Exactly, yeah.
and if you enjoy something on stream, people are going to be more wanting to watch you because you're in a better mood, you give out a better vibe, I guess. Unless you're just some toxic guy that everyone loves to watch rage,
Yep.
which is a thing. You know, a lot of people do that
Yeah.
and can be funny. And then obviously you get the opposite where Hans is a very niche game and he owns that game basically. So it's kind of and maybe you see more viewers coming to that game because they don't want to watch everyone playing Valorant. They want to watch Company of Heroes or I don't know. But
Yeah, it's a good point you raised there. I definitely feel like, I mean, generally though, I mean, with the lockdown in place, has everybody seen a increase in viewers just across the
Yeah.
board, or?
Hard
I
to
did.
say because obviously I've been
Change the
moving around
game.
games recently, especially with Valorant now. But somewhat, yeah. Before Valorant came out, for what I was doing, there was a small increase, yeah.
interesting. Okay, so I mean, I just want to go one piece of advice from each 5 of you. For someone who wants to grow their stream, who gets a couple of viewers, if that, or just hit affiliate. Obviously that we just hit affiliate, but it's actually only 3 viewers, which is great. But realistically, you actually want to grow your stream. What's your number one tip? I guess. So Toby, will start with you, and we'll go round my face, going round clockwise.
Be unique. If you create unique content, like when I was playing Ring of Elysium for like 11 months or whatever it was, this goes back to the YouTube stuff. I did educational YouTube videos on like recoil patterns, when big new seasons would come out and there was like a new adventure pass and stuff. I do like update videos, and like some of those got like 3.4k views, 2.2k, and it was because no one else was making that kind of video in the Ring of Elysium scene, and it helped me grow to potentially the number one UK streamer in the game, which while it was only a small game, getting those 3.4k viewers of a game with 10k players was pretty good. And I always thought that if like you blew that up to like CSGO sizes, with like, let's even just say to a game with like 100k viewers, that 100k players, that 3.4k would then turn into like 34k. But of course, you then have a lot more people making those kind of videos. So you've just got to be the unique one that makes the content that you think is no one else is doing, but that is also entertaining or useful. And that's what I did with the educational stuff.
How would you make something unique in a game like, I don't know, Valorant or Counter-Strike if you wanted to make it in those games? Because that's the hard part, I guess, isn't it? If you want to make it in a saturated game, how
Yeah,
do you make
and
something unique?
that's why I think educational stuff is so so easy, because like you can literally, like, I'm pretty sure you could still go on YouTube now and type in like how to use the LVOAC in Ring of Elysium, and I think my video would be one of the first one that pops up, because you can look for Isaac's checking me out now.
Oh, no, I'm actually going for some water.
You can.
I was going to prove you no, it doesn't come up, Toby, actually.
But like you could literally, like, I mean, just go on YouTube and search anything with like I mean, some of you might not know what Isaac will probably know, like Sage slow orb lineups for retaking sites. And if there's no video, you can go in game, go in a custom match, find some, make a 3-minute video that people are then, if they search that up, and you just do that 10 times with 10 different videos, then you've got a much higher chance of having people see them, and then of course be like, oh, I also stream on Twitch these days, and then they come in and be like, oh, hey, that was a cool video. And then that's a really easy way of attracting them in. Then it's the whole case of getting them back multiple times, but that's a different story.
Hans?
For me, I would say for new streamers or affiliates, well, first of all, if you become affiliate, don't think you've made it. I think too many people think that once they get affiliate, they're like ahead and they've done so much thing, and then they could drop everything, quit their job and everything. But no, don't do that, because it's going to backfire. A lot of people get burnt out too quickly. So I would say that. I know it might sound a bit cruel to say that, but just be smart about it. And the second thing I would say is try and find something niche to play as well. I would say so if you, instead of like playing something big like Valorant, find a game that's got not too niche, but it's got still a good community. It could be even an older game, but as long as it's got a good community and there's not much content being made for it, you could be like the number one streamer for that game if you found the right thing for you. So I would definitely recommend doing that. Find something kind of niche, but not too niche.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a couple of advice actually. I think the first one being what works for everyone else is not going to work for you necessarily. Be yourself and find what works for you. I see so many people like someone's doing like a 24-hour stream and they're like, I'm going to do a 24-hour stream. Everyone's raving about these 24-hour streams. They can't do it because it's really hard. It's a very long time to stream. You're not necessarily going to have any viewers for 24 hours, and it's not necessarily the way to grow. So don't necessarily go for what everyone else is doing, and also don't be scared of asking for feedback. I would say, like, if you're not seeing any growth, like, go into your analyst. Oh my god, I am not British. I cannot pronounce these words sometimes. But like when you check your stats and you see like, okay, maybe Mondays is the worst day. You're not getting any viewers. Don't stream Mondays. Maybe do Tuesdays when you see your peak time is these hours, etc. Or ask your community for feedback. Like, why do you like my content? Why do you not like it? Like, don't be scared to ask and get that feedback, because that can be very valuable to help your growth.
Yeah, I think taking I can't say it now. I'm not English either. I am, but
Yeah, I'm not the only
can't
one.
take constructive criticism. Is a big. You need to be able to take it because people are going to give it to you, so you have to be able to take it. But yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think, but you also touched on make sure you do what you want to do, because I think, as we touched on earlier in this podcast, the mental side of streaming is probably the hardest part of it. So if you're not doing something you're happy with, if you're doing some streaming which you're not happy with, you're playing a game you don't like, but just for the views, that's going to take a big toll on you. But yeah, Isaac?
I think I'll probably go with somewhat of a cliche one and say a schedule is a big thing, because I know personally when I go into a stream, I don't want to sound harsh, but I mean, I'm not going to spend my time making a bond with a streamer I want to watch if I don't think they're going to be committed to it. Because what's the point of bonding with a streamer? You really like watching their stuff, and then suddenly they just stop streaming for 2 months or whatever, or you just don't know what time they're going to be streaming. One day they stream in your time zone, and then for the next 2 weeks they haven't streamed in your time zone, you haven't been able to watch. So when someone comes into a stream, they look underneath your stream, they see, oh, this person's always streaming when I'm free and I'm watching Twitch. Perfect. I'm going to start watching this person and build a bond with them. That's great. So I'd say a schedule is a big one, because it gives the viewer confidence that they're not wasting their time watching you, building up a bond, and then you're just going to disappear on them.
Yeah, and I think actually if people want to sub to your channel, they'll notice, they'll watch you a few times before they sub, and they'll make sure you're actually streaming every day, or they get the most out of their sub, I guess, if you say.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to stream once a month, they're not going to sub, because that's waste money, I guess.
For me, it'd be treat your viewers as people and not a number. I think you can get wrapped up in the stats of Twitch. I think, like I say, over the last couple of years, I've made some great friends, people that I want to meet in real life now. If I get kidnapped, I get kidnapped, but let's hope not. But they're the people. Do you know what I mean? They're I don't know. You can build connections with people, and if you build a connection with someone, they're always going to come back to hang out. And I think you've got to treat that as the same as in real life. If you've got a group of friends around you that you go to the pub with, why are those 5 people always with you? Going to the pub with you because they enjoy your company. And if you treated those people at the pub as a number, just like, yeah, let's just get more and more people into the pub, it's do you know what I mean? It's not going to work. So that's my thoughts.
I mean, that's all great advice, I think. Okay, so just like a last one before we do like a Q&A. What are your future plans for your streams? So obviously give yourselves a shout out or something, but also, I mean, what's your future plans for the next couple of months or a year or whatever your goals are, I guess, at the moment. Maybe say what your goal is. I mean, everyone should have their own goals. I think it's the best way to motivate yourself. So what is your current goal, and what games are going to be, what you stream? Yeah, Toby, start if you want.
So I don't have a goal. So I want to do, as I said earlier, more educational stuff on Valorant. Obviously that's coming after uni assignments, but after the 23rd, I'm free for till September. That's if it lets us out. But goal wise, I really don't know. I think last year I set myself goals that are, you know what I mean when I say like stats that you can't really control, like subs, and like, as much as you can work towards increasing that number, you can't really control it in a accurate measure. Whereas like with I can stream 8 hours a day, 5 days a week if you know, that's my goal. I can do one YouTube video every week if that's my goal. And I want to work more towards having stuff like that, maybe a new educational video out every 2 weeks or something, rather than having like I want to hit 20 average viewers every stream or whatever. Because like as much as I can try and work towards them, I can't directly, you know, just put in more effort and they will go up. Because you can definitely put in effort in the wrong places in streaming.
I agree. And actually, coming from a poker background, monetary goals are the worst goals to make. You should never make monetary goals. You should make goals which you can control, because like in poker there's variance as well. It's the same with Twitch, the same with anything. You should make a goal which you can control, be it, you know, effort you put in, or just hours, or amount of research you do, amount of like, you know, work behind the scenes or anything. Those kind of goals. You can have some goals like maybe follow accounts, who knows, but like generally monetary goals or number goals can be pretty tricky and disappointing. But achievable goals are the ones you should be making, not ones which are going to disappoint you later if you don't. But I guess if you want to push yourself to the top, maybe you should be making those, as long as you can bounce back, I guess. Hans?
Well, for me, I think I've got two goals really. One is to get the right work-life balance, I think, because my social life is non-existent really at the moment. I live really rural up in Scotland. I'm really far, you know, so I've been effectively locked down way longer than most people, because it's just like so far away from the nearest town kind of thing. And since I moved up fairly recently, I've literally not, you know, so I used to live right on the south coast of Brighton. So I don't know anybody up here, so I need to try and get, you know, go out and actually do something here. So I think that will help me become a better streamer, because I just feel better mentally, because I could go down to the pub and meet some mates or whatever, which would be great. And then, well, on the streaming side of things specifically, I want to go out there and push my brand further, like I was talking about earlier, with, you know, trying to get someone to push me onto like magazines and that kind of thing, you know, PC Gamer magazine, or like in the news maybe, that kind of thing. Just get my name out there to be known as like the strategy streamer for the UK was kind of my kind of number one goal really.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, for me, it's I mean, I can relate to a lot what you just said actually, because between juggling everything, finding a social life is extremely hard. So it's like finding that balance, definitely. It's been nearly 4 years. I still haven't found that balance. It's not that easy, but for me, it's all about the community. I'm not like one of those streamers who's really, really excelling at a game, and that's just my target audience. I'm loving discovering all of the new releases of indie games and things like that, and that's for me. It's just what I want to keep doing, to cover those games, talk about them, play some games together as well. Some of them are multiplayer, like involve the community a little bit, and just give everyone like a very nice, chill place to hang out, really, and talk about our common passion for games.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting, because for me, I'm almost kind of the opposite, because so when I started my stream, like I said, Counter-Strike solely, and in the last year and a half, I've been doing variety. But with Valorant, I think at least short term, I miss focusing on one game and really concentrating on it. And I think maybe my goal for the short term is to push out some content for Valorant. So, like I said, I've been slacking my YouTube. I hadn't really put anything up in there in ages. And I think I might start trying to do some content for Valorant. And like I said, I just want to focus on Valorant, at least for in the short term. Like I said, it's only been a week. It's early days. Who knows? Maybe the game will evolve and I'll start to hate it soon. But for now, I'm enjoying it. I think short term, I want to be focusing on that, putting out some content for that, I think.
But one thing wrong in that sentence, Isaac.
And what's that?
I'm going to. You're going to.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm going to. Well, I didn't have the goal set, but you know what? After this week,
Now you do.
like I said, in the last couple of days, it was literally the last couple of days, I was thinking, you know what? I want to step up my YouTube again for Valorant and put some stuff out for that. So yeah, that will be my goal. I will set this up.
Just a side question for you on that, Isaac. Do you think it's easier to become more successful, say in Valorant, if you was part of a team grinding tournaments, leagues, matches, or if you was a solo streamer, entertainer, and just doing like games with viewers, or
Yeah.
do you know what I mean, becoming more like important in that game?
I mean, that's an interesting one, because obviously we can't really know yet, because we're only a week in and the successful people have been the people with the key drops. But if we look back to CS, which I guess you'd say is a very comparable game, I always thought about this back when I was playing competitively, because if I put more time into playing competitively and less time into streaming, it's kind of a gamble, because in the end I did want to be a streamer. But you'll see some players who made it to the top and then didn't want to play anymore and went to streaming, and obviously they made it huge. But it's a big gamble because if you focus more on the competitive playing matches and not streaming much, if you don't make it, you haven't made your name, and you go back to streaming and you haven't made any progress there. So it's kind of like a trade-off, and that's why I was so lucky that for a good year and a half I had that team where I could stream everything while playing competitively, so I was getting the best of both worlds. But then the problem was when I left that team, I couldn't find another one like that, and that was where my content kind of struggled for a while, because I'm really competitive, I like competing, and I just couldn't find that balance for competing, because everybody who was offering to play with me was pretty much saying, we don't want to stream the practices and the matches and stuff, which meant I would have had to cut my streaming in at least half. And even then, it's so, I don't know, it felt more taxing doing it off stream and then going to stream after. So yeah, I'd say it's early days for Valorant. I don't know what's going to be the popular side of it. I don't even know if it's going to be popular. Obviously, I hope that Riot end up pushing the game a lot, but who knows, maybe people end up not enjoying it, because Overwatch, I know, became a bit, people didn't enjoy watching as much because it's hard to follow because of all the abilities and stuff. It's not a game like Counter-Strike where you can watch it and you've never played it before and you can just see what's going on. When there's abilities flying left, right, and center, people get confused and they don't find it as fun to watch. So
Cool.
in terms of Valorant, I think that's gonna, time will tell on that.
Yep. Cool. Bombo, what's your
I think my main goal is to become a well-known figure within Counter-Strike. Like I say, I played the game for 17 years, put my heart and soul into it. I think one thing I try and do throughout my community and streams is try and change the mindset of the Counter-Strike community. And I know that's crazy, but I hate it at the minute. Like, it's such a terrible environment, and it puts off a lot of new players. And even though I see Isaac as well, with skilled players, and we would still play with anyone who's just starting the game or they're not very good, and it's welcoming those into the game that you love. And I think a lot of people don't do that as streamers, where they're just like, I'm too good to play with you, I don't care if you're crap, I'll just flame you. And it's probably trying to change that mindset of what our community is for the game, because like I say, passionate, I love it, I'd probably die for it. And that's something I'd want to try and encourage.
Okay, thanks everyone. I mean, we're going to do a quick Q&A. We've got a few questions in chat. Put some more in if you need, guys. But yeah, start off, we kind of covered this a bit, but any advice you'd give to starting streamers? So obviously we've covered someone who's 2-3 viewers, I guess, and wants to grow, or 10 viewers wants to grow. I guess what would you want to do if you're starting? You hadn't started streaming yet. You're thinking you might get into it. What are the reasons why you'd get into it? Like, I mean, you got the money, obviously, but that can't be a reason where you'd start. You have to love it, in my opinion. But yeah. What's your guys' thoughts?
To have fun is the number one reason. I'd say that's why I got into it. So yeah, just make sure you're having fun. If you're not having fun, don't do it. If you go into it with a mindset that you want to make money, you're not going to succeed. Period.
And also lower your expectations. Money is not going to come flying.
Yeah, I say streaming is just for people who just, if you just want to chat with people, streaming is great, because, and I mean, it's not necessarily strictly this, but I mean, if you have one game that you're really passionate about, and that was me with CS, when I started streaming, I really like just talking about it, telling people about stuff they didn't know about the game and stuff like that. So, especially if you have one game that you really like, streaming is great to start, just to talk to like-minded people about it.
Nice.
I think finding out why you're streaming is important. Why are you streaming? Do you want to make a living out of it further down the line? Are you just doing it just to hang out with your friends? Or like, if you find out why you're streaming, you can kind of orientate your goals further around that.
Yeah, I think like what Han said as well, is like, don't be afraid to stream. Like, most people, when you think, well, I certainly did, when I come to stream, you've got to stream a game. Like, don't think that anymore. The landscape's changed. Just if you like cooking, like, stream that. If you like makeup streams, like you're saying nice earlier, stream that. It's whatever you're passionate about, put your energy into that on the stream.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, next question. Okay, this is quite an interesting one, I think, and I've thought about it as well. I mean, you think streamers struggle if they don't have a camera?
Yes.
No webcam.
Yes and no. I've seen some people succeed without cameras. There's like people have like what's that thing
Lyric.
called?
Lyrics a big.
Yeah, Lyric doesn't have a camera, and what's the guy with the panda face? Baru, I think he's the one doesn't have a camera.
yeah.
He does really well. So there are instances of people succeeding without cameras, but I think they've been around since the start. If you were to start now, I think definitely having a camera would be a huge benefit. But you don't have to have a camera in the sense that you could use maybe an avatar as well. I've seen people use like an anime avatar, a cartoon avatar of themselves, and people have had success with that because that may be a lot cuter to look at than maybe if you maybe look like, for instance. It's just an example, you know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you
that's
can
true.
also make it like if you just have a very entertaining personality, like some people use soundboards, things like that. Like you don't necessarily put your face on there to make it, but I think it again comes with what people are used to. Like if I stream without a cam, most people will be like, "Oh, why don't you have your camera on today?" Because they like seeing like how I'm reacting to the games. That's what they enjoy. Like that might not necessarily work for me, but maybe I'll do it because I'm not feeling great one day. But there's definitely people who can make it without a cam. A cam isn't 100% like you made it if you have a camera. So I think it's just like finding the balance, like your audience and how you sell your personality as such.
I think with a camera, it comes off as like, you can have a personal bond with somebody. They can actually see you physically, and they can see your raw emotions and stuff. So they can have a better connection with you, and that's why I think they would probably more likely to stick around and get invested in your channel. So that's why I think a camera is definitely recommended for streaming.
I think one thing I struggle with is quite a lot of time when I watch streams, I don't have the sound on. I might lie in bed or something and watching a stream, or just at night or something. I don't know, just something in the morning, and I might have the volume on to not disturb anyone else, or just to generally just chill and watch a game or something. But actually, a webcam having that, you do have a bit of interaction in the sense that you see the person's reactions, as you say, or whatever. And if I don't want a webcam, I'll watch a professional match. Probably I'll watch Astralis versus FaZe or whatever, and I don't need the sound on again. I just watch it. But so I say probably 50% of the time I watch streams I don't have the sound on, which is probably the same for some people. I don't know, but maybe I'm just weird. So if you don't have the sound on, then you're literally just watching someone play Counter Strike, who is no offense to like whatever is not a device or an eco or so technically so I think a webcam does help a lot personalize with that person and make them the influencer in that sense.
Yeah, it's not a make or break, but generally I'd say a webcam does help. But yeah, it's not make or break. There's plenty of people who've been successful without, like we said, but it is always nice, and I feel like it is kind of something that is kind of synonymous with Twitch, isn't it? Most of the time, if you think of a Twitch stream, you do think of someone's face in the side and then the gameplay in the middle. So not make or break, but it definitely does help, I reckon, most of the time with the majority of viewers.
Yep. Okay, Hans, got a question for you. Did you feel making the trip to US TwitchCon and the EU one did you gain a lot from it? I mean, obviously that's part of networking. I mean, do you think it was worth
totally.
it?
I think it's so important to show that you're willing to travel to these events, especially like if you're from the UK and you go to all the way over to San Diego and you meet like some American company and they'll be like, wow, you came all the way over here. So it shows you're dedicated, to what you're doing, and they love to see that. So they know that you're going to put the work in to be there, to be present, and to get involved with all things gaming, I guess. A lot of these conventions, so not just TwitchCon. I would recommend going all of these conventions because you can meet so many types of companies, not just companies that sell computers like PC Gamer or not PC Overclocker, sorry, Corsair, and all these other companies, right? You want to go there, you speak to those guys, but there's also other things as well. When I went to TwitchCon NA, I saw companies for like energy drinks and supplements to help keep you focused while gaming, as well as service providers for like keeping your analytics in check. And if you build relationships with these guys, they'll help you and work with you to further your career as a streamer, basically. So I definitely recommend to go to these events for sure. Definitely.
I actually met you at Twitch London, didn't I? So I mean, we've met each other 3-4 times at Twitch London. So, and that's where we grew our relationship, which is, I think, mutually beneficial. And let alone the fact that I think we're friends. So, I think it's actually mutually beneficial in many ways. But yeah, I mean, you might have a different view on our friendship, but I don't know. Or not friendship, no. Cool. Yeah. Someone's asked if I wanted to stream through my console only. Does anyone have any console stuff? What kind of headset should I use? I.e., mic not connected to PC. Does anyone have any advice on that or experience?
Buy a
I'm-
PC.
the PC Master Race, is it? Yeah.
PC gaming was
Yeah, so
Yeah, I guess get a wireless headset. I guess Asus are our sponsor. Find one of those. There you go. But yeah, wireless headset. I guess will do the job.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to headset, if you wear glasses, make sure it's comfortable to wear for long periods of time. I found it's pain. And for me personally, because I always get companies saying, "Hey, try a headset out. We'll pay you to use it and everything." But it's very few headsets that I can wear that actually are quite comfortable while wearing glasses for a long period of time. So make sure that you find a pair that you can wear for a long time without them pitting against your ear, because that could be really painful after a 4+ hour long stream.
And just quickly on the console thing, like if you want to stream from console, I find that for me it works best to have like just a capture card, and you just use it on your PC, because that way it's so much easier to engage with your chat. You have like your monitors to get everything sorted, and like if you just have your console, you're going to struggle to see everything at once, and maybe some people just have like their phone on the side. So I think overall it's easier personally to stream from a PC, and then if you want to do console games, to just get a capture card and then just set it up from the PC.
It lets you make it. You can make it look nicer as well when you're doing it from a capture card, can't you? Because I don't know how
Yeah,
it works. 'Cause I don't actually have a console to stream from, but literally you can only have like a webcam. You can't really put an overlay if you're streaming straight from your console, can you, or anything like that?
Probably not
No, I
as
don't
far
think
as I
so.
know.
Yeah,
But if you do it like from your PC, like with OBS or
exactly.
whatever
Capture
software
card
you're
OBS.
using,
Yeah,
you can just use your capture card and you just put your overlay or whatever you want shown on the stream on top of that. So it's quite handy.
more customizability like that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, another question here is kind of a nice problem to have, but then I guess it's kind of a unique situation as well. So everyone's obviously at home at the moment in lockdown, and he's getting quite a lot of subs, extra subs than he would normally get, I guess, maybe. But how do you then grow from that once everyone goes back to work? And there's naturally going to be a dip probably, and a bit of viewership, bit of sub revenue because everyone's back at work. I don't know. How do you continue your growth from there? And I mean, I guess you could almost give the advice from a seasonal point of view, where you feel like there's some seasons where you get higher subs than lower. How do you deal with that, or how do you grow from there? I guess.
I'm actually sub to the person whose question came in, and I think in terms of that, like that person's blown up over the last few weeks, and it's then keeping on top of that, and I think that's actually quite hard, because you've got to be out there streaming every day and just being creating content, giving more people it, because you've got that sub list now, you've got that viewership, you've got to start letting those people have that content to share around their friends, and then it'll just keep growing. It's a snowball effect, and that's now the point where you just can't stop. That's for me. I don't think that that person in particular will dip now. I don't think it's seasonal for them. I think they've had their boom moment, and you've just got to keep going with it. And if you say you took a couple of weeks off streaming, then you're going to lose it. But yeah, God knows what's going to happen if that when you go back to work. It's how do you juggle both, or where do you make that decision? Do you stop full-time work, or that's tough.
It's going to be tough to keep everybody from this weird time period where everybody's at home almost all the time. All you can really do is try and find a schedule where you get in a nice range of hours where you can. I don't know how international the audience is, but where people from different time zones can maybe catch at least some of the stream and stick to that schedule. Obviously, if it's after work, just find a few set hours where you'll be able to after work each day. I think schedule is always such a big thing with streaming. So yeah, if you just have a few hours where people know you're going to be there, a lot of them will make the effort to come there at that time if they know that you're going to be there.
I think as well, I was just going to say, I think it's interesting, because I actually thought this period with everyone with the pandemic staying at home, for me personally, I'm being very cautious with my pennies, and I've actually reduced the amount of people I'm sub to, just to be like, oh, I don't know when my next income's coming or how much, etc. So I'm quite surprised at how much people are still subbing and donating, and when it's a difficult time. I thought it'd be the other way around, where the viewers would go up, but the monetary value of streaming would go down. But doesn't seem to be the case at the moment.
I actually think the fact that you've asked that question is a great stepping stone in the sense that you're mentally prepared for it already. A lot of people will think, oh, I've now got 100, 200, 300 subs, whatever, like all of a sudden, and then they'll go, right, I can get 1,000 now, I can get 2,000 now, I can get whatever. If you're mentally prepared for the fact that there might be a dip back down, and you might blow up and get 1,000 very easily, like, it could definitely happen. These things snowball, they can happen. But if you're mentally prepared for the fact that you're not going to be, you might not, so be an overnight sensation or whatever, or then that's a very good stepping stone mentally to then move on. My opinion. But yeah, obviously, hopefully you can keep it going. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always important to remember if you've had a big event or something and you do see like a big increase, you will have a drop and it's going to happen. It might be gradually, or it might just be like boom, you lost 500 subs in one day and you think, wow, what did I do wrong? What happened? But you have to remember, maybe 1 month ago you had a special event, it was a birthday stream or something, and people were feeling extra generous. Like, you always have to be prepared that numbers are going to go up and down, but it doesn't necessarily reflect on your overall growth.
Gifted subs can inflate as well. Like, gifted subs might not be there the next month. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you should just treat it all as a bonus, to be honest. If you treat it as a bonus, then you won't be disappointed when it drops off. And that's coming back to what we talked about earlier about mentality. You don't want to be super depressed if you lose all those subs. So if you, again, like, you treat it, in the first instance as a bonus, then you won't be upset.
Great, another question. Hans, you do this quite well, so I'll ask this one to you. I mean, other people, please chip in afterwards. As a streamer, do you, and if so, how, interact with game developers, community managers, and like giving them feedback on the game and stuff? And like, I know you've worked with Company of Heroes quite closely, and
well, basically, I think my work with Company Heroes has led me to be invited to to be flown out to other companies and help them work at their studios and stuff. But just be an expert at what you do, I guess. Not everybody can be, but if you're really good at something, you're really knowledgeable about game mechanics, that kind of thing, then a lot of the times the developers aren't actually that good at their games. Most of them are below average, actually. So horrible to say that, I know, but it's true. I mean, the people that are good in a developer studio are kind of the balance testers, and they're the ones that practice the game and play against each other to just try and get the balance. But they don't know the ins and outs of the game, and that's where as an expert player, your insight, your expertise is going to come invaluable on helping to maybe improve the game currently, or help them make a sequel of that first game. So, for instance, with Company Heroes, I was there to help make the sequel Company Heroes 2. I was flown out to Vancouver Studios by Relic Entertainment, and help work with them, gave them advice on this is what they should do, this is where they're going wrong. You got to be frank with them as well and say if you generally think this is a bad marketing decision or like a bad business decision, you could chip in there as well. You'd be frank with them. They're more than happy to listen to you if they're reasonable. However, if you're trying to work with like a newer studio, I've had difficulties with a newer studio that I've tried to talk with, but because they're so new and they don't know how really to kind of handle community feedback, they think their way is the right way, or sometimes with like these indie studios. So you've got to be careful about where you don't want to be burning any bridges, basically, as well.
There's always a way to give constructive criticism. There's always a way to say it.
Yeah, you got to try and say it the right way, but sometimes you can't always assume that your way is the right way as well. You got to try and think, be open-minded as well. Listen to other people's feedback and criticisms, and try and give the most logical and balanced, argument. So you got to have that kind of skill as well if you want to try and work with game development.
Anyone else got any advice for that one?
I think just like in general, always remember to be professional when you're working with like companies. I've seen so many tweets that people are so demanding. Like, if there's a new release and people are tweeting out, like community managers are tweeting out, like, okay, who wants a key? People are like, oh, me, like they're being really rude about it. But all it takes, honestly, most of the time, I've got a key from just being polite, sending an email, find out who can you contact, tell them about yourself, why should you get a key, instead of just demanding, oh yeah, I would stream this, give me a key, and things like this. If you do get close with a developer or a particular game that you're kind of promoting, or also remember, like, you have value as well. Like, a lot of people do so much things for free without actually realizing that their social media, their stream, their content is actually worth something. So you see a lot of people falling in this place where they just do a lot of work for free. So you also have to find the balance of, yeah, you still want to work with these companies, but you also have to remember that what you do for them is also exposure. So it's finding a little bit of a balance, but always be professional and yeah, just pick your encounters wisely, I guess.
Actually, coming back to Twitch London again, I think I've been to the last 4 or 5, but they've always got game developers there, and they're always willing to. I mean, it's obvious for them to go to there because their Twitch streamers are there, and as soon as they're there, you just go chat to them. I mean, I've chatted to loads of game developers, Sea of Thieves to like I don't know, all sorts. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't play them myself really, but they're all there to chat to the streamers. That's the whole point. To go to these networking events, be it Twitch cons, be it Twitch Londons, be it whatever, and interact with other streamers for a start, but also chat to the game developers. Way to get in. And as you said, Ice, emailing, you can find a contact somewhere online easily for a lot of these games. They won't always. Most time they ignore you, but they'll often.
I mean, the worst case they say
Yeah.
no. I mean,
Or
it
they
doesn't
avoid
hurt
it.
to like if
Yeah.
you're if you're really interested in a game or to work with someone, it just takes an email. Just introduce yourself, say what you would like to do for them or what you were hoping that could do for you. Just start a conversation. A lot of the time can bring you places and give you opportunities. And I think that's where a lot of people are struggling to find opportunities, but because they're not reaching out and they expect people to come to you, but that's not necessarily going to happen.
That's why I also say like going to these events are so important as well, is because if you meet someone face to face, they can't like run away from you and ignore you basically. Otherwise it'd be rude, right? So they have to speak to you, so then you can initiate that conversation and build a genuine bond with that person as well. So you know if they can see you and see your personality, that's a lot. You can show that through, but a lot more than obviously through an email. So I would definitely say that's why it's so important to head to as many gaming conventions as you possibly can, really.
Sometimes even a no in that initial instance can lead to a yes in the future, because if you put yourself forward well and give some nice information about yourself, you may not be a fit for whatever they're doing then, but they may note you down and say, oh, this person's actually interested in this stuff, we have something in the future coming up with that, we'll get back into contact with them later when this whatever this project is further forward. So even a no can end up being something positive in the long run. So just always just present yourself as well as you can.
Don't burn your bridges, like Hans was saying, because if someone says no to you and you come back with a salty response, then I won't work with you again or whatever. It's straight up. I mean, I've a lot of times when let's say we're not ready to pick up someone, a team now or whatever, I don't know. If you see that or a streamer, if you see them still around in a year's time, you might they're still around. They're there for good. Right, we'll pick them up now. Those things take time, but if you present yourself in a good way for a long time, it happens. Yeah, next question. Donation goal on your stream, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Do people see it as begging? Do people like are they helpful or not?
It depends what you go for.
Yeah, like I think if there's a goal, people might like to know where their money's going. So for me, I've got a goal at the moment that I'm going to bleach my hair, and it's going to be something where it's like, okay, something's going to happen when we reach that goal. So, people might donate to see that happen. I think some people, if they've got a goal up, say, look, I need to pay for, I don't know, a wedding or something like that. People want to support that for that person. But at the same time, like he says, it can be seen. I wouldn't see it as begging, but I think it's sort of like, I don't know. Actually, it's such a tough one because I've had goals up a handful of times, but then I don't usually over the last 2 years.
Same.
I think it's like very 50-50. It depends on who you're asking. It's a matter of opinion because sometimes you might put up a goal for something that will help the stream. For instance, if people want to see you, I don't know, get a green screen or a better camera, a better microphone, something like that, people might be more I guess willing to chip in towards it. I think transparency where the money is going is definitely important. You're not just like, give me £1,000, just put up like there, give it to me. Like for me, being a full-time streamer, it's my only source of income. But I think a lot of people, I mean, we kind of touched on the topic before, like being a full-time streamer and like what are the struggles? One of the struggles is people think you've made it. As soon as you become a partner or something, people are like, you made it, you don't need the sub, I'll just go find a small streamer who's not made it. Or it's sometimes just a like daily reminder, just putting up a very small goal, like maybe £20 or something, just to be like, people like filling up the goals as well. They see you happy. It's just that kind of reminding them that this is actually your only form of income. Yes, it's free and it's never expected, but it does help. It's if you want to keep enjoying the community and the stream, that's basically how it's done. It's like through your generosity, through tipping or subbing, or gifting or something, just to help it going. So it's like a bittersweet thing. It's like it can help you, but it can also put some people off. I think it's just a matter of opinion, honestly.
Yeah, there's no cover-all answer. It's case by case. Some people like, some people don't. Depends what you're doing the goal for. I'd say the majority of people, when it's something specifically to make the stream better, I think hardly anyone is ever going to have a gripe with that. You know, I think I had a goal a couple of years ago to get a new CPU because my CPU was struggling to stream Counter-Strike at the time. And then no, I don't think a single person had a gripe with me having that one up. But obviously, if you have something up for, even if it's something superfluous, sometimes people, it's really a case-by-case basis. You can't say
Domino's
it's a good
pizza.
thing or a bad thing. Yeah, even Domino's pizza, some people respect and they'll say, you know what, you deserve that today. So yeah, case-by-case basis. You can't just say it's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's the ones like it's like $200 for paying rent or something. Yeah, that's
a no. Yeah,
a big red flag.
Yeah.
But I see it again now.
I mean, but then some people will say, oh, that's just for their. I'll happily donate towards that. So again, it's just case by case. I reckon if I saw rent,
agree,
I'd
but
be
if
like,
you-
oh.
I would agree, but if it's for something like rent, you've obviously made a mistake in your life where you.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
you
true.
got to the point where you're too late. You like, you've almost. What have you done to get to the stage where you basically? I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like that's more begging, in my opinion, than I could be wrong again. But and some people are in a situation where they need that. But
I think it's what are you doing on your own accord to like help that as well? If you're sitting 8 hours a day on the stream and not getting any revenue in, you're not really helping. Go get a part-time job, and ask for some support from the stream. Yeah.
But yeah, and I actually personally think that I'm way more likely to donate to someone if they've got a goal. Actually, I think I am. So I don't see a thing.
Yeah, I guess because it's nice to see you're helping them out and you see the progress visually on stream rather than donation goes in, pop-up comes up, and then once that's gone, oh, okay, it was over, but then you see that you helped towards something.
If it is something like TwitchCon or something like that as well, I mean, a lot of these people will go to TwitchCon because they want to meet their favourite streamers. If they see that they need to hit a goal for you to meet them, they might donate to go, for you to go so they can meet you as well, and it's stuff like that. I agree.
I think there's a psychology behind donations as well. With like, let's say you have £100 goal, and you already have like 80 in there. I think someone's way more likely to donate the last 20 than if you have none in there and they're starting it at 20. I don't know. I feel like it would be really scummy to test it by like setting the donation goal to 80 every day.
No, yeah, you're probably right, because probably get some endorphins going when you make that bar hit the top.
And you're like, yes, I am the one who's completed it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
All
right, nice idea for my next stream, Toby. Thank you. Starting at 80. Thank you very much.
I bet people have done that as well.
I also
probably,
think if you're a small streamer starting a goal at too big, like 1,000, and it's going to be £10 for ages, then people aren't going to donate because it's then their £5 not going to make a difference really, or doesn't feel like it will. I'm sure it will. Awesome. I think the other questions generally we've covered. We'll be putting this on YouTube soon. Someone asked when we're playing Fate, 5 o'clock on this channel. I need to find a streamer to caster still, but we're Counter-Strike team, one more chance to get MDL, so tune in at 5 o'clock for that, at UK time that is. Cool. Ice, you streaming now? Do you want to put your stream on? Give you a raid? Everyone get in there?
Sure.
I think you're streaming now, like you said? Yeah.
Yeah, it will be a couple of minutes.
Awesome. Just shout everyone out here, so attendees, and then I need to add, because I wasn't sure if Toby was coming, is also organised TV. There you go. So go give everyone a follow. They're awesome people. I can vouch for them all. If you don't believe me, then you can't believe anyone. So yeah, go do that. We're going to give a raid to Ice Tronixa. Awesome. Yeah. So go.
Let her leave first.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for tuning in. This is a podcast series. This is the fourth of the podcast series. There will be more. We cover a number of situations, like scenarios in esports. If anyone's got any ideas of what they want, just give us a shout. Reply to one of our tweets or about this, or if you want to just give us an email about some interesting subject you want to hear about, just let us know. But thanks for everyone for being in the chat, and
yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Guys, go spam Ice now. Go.